much tighter. 241. Splits a little bit slower with this gun. Welcome to part 2 of the easy trick to shooting better and having a more reliable gun and getting better double taps, in theory. That's what we'll be testing coming up next on GBGuns. Unfortunately, if you're jumping in to part 2, you may not understand what's going on. I highly suggest going and watching part 1. I will try to put a card in if YouTube lets me put it in this early in a video. What we're doing is, and I've decided I'm going to go with the Echelon because I'm having fun with this grip module. Taking a DPM recoil system, which allows us to tune the recoil of the gun. Keep in mind, the recoil assembly's main job isn't to fight recoil, it's to shove the slide forward with enough force to strip around the next round off of the top of the magazine. So you'll want to test this with a full mag as much as you can reasonably. When you pick your setup, we're going to be experimenting. This has, looks like 3 different end caps and 4 different springs. Quite a few possibilities here. The way it works, and the reason there's an advantage, and I've been using this stuff for 6 years now, I think. 8 years? Jeez, 8 years. Man, I've been doing this a while. So I know the systems work. I haven't tried them on these particular guns, like the Echelon, for example, but just to remind you, the spring is supposed to do that. It also can take some recoil out. And as I've shown many, many times, probably a couple hundred times in the slow-mo footage I used to do on this channel, the recoil you feel isn't the detonation of the round. Sure, you get a little bit of movement there, but then when you start getting mass moving, this is where heavy slides can be a problem sometimes, that mass starts to shift your hand, and the real shift that you get is that. When that slam happens at the end, that's when your wrist breaks and it pops up, and then this goes forward and drives back down. So if we can eliminate that slam at the end, we're not going to get the wrist pop. That's what I experienced with the Walther P99. That's what I experienced with the SIG P365XL using these kits, and that's what I'm hoping to find with the Echelon. How can we test this? How can we know? Well, I could spend a whole lot of ammo, a whole lot of time creating terrible slow motion footage for you guys, or we could simply do some hammered pairs, that's aiming once, squeezing twice, and look at the distance between those 2 hits and take a look at the time. I'm gonna run the timer not to play the, wow, that's a fast split game, but to have some pressure, and so that we can see if maybe I shot better because I shot slower or that kind of thing. So to start off, we are 7 yards away from this torso. I'll zoom in a little more. Hopefully that gives you a clear shot of hits. Sorry about the lighting, guys. It's early November in Oregon. That's the way things go here. And I'm gonna do a couple hammered pairs. We'll see how far apart they are. We'll see what kind of times we're looking at. And then I will put in a DPM system combination just to get started. From there, we'll work on tuning the gun and talk about some things we want to tune for. That was definitely slow. 159, and we see we've got, looks like about 2.5 inches there. .134, and we've got about 2 inches there. We'll do one more for good measure. That's stacked. Maybe I'm warming up. That was a 121. One more. Now we're back to about a 2-inch spread. So I'm gonna say that's probably about how I perform, and that was a 118. The split was 0.13. That's pretty quick. Anyways, as I boast and feel proud for a moment, this is normal 124 grain range ammo. That's what I'm using as a baseline in this gun. I will patch that target. We'll throw in a DPM system and see if we get that 2-inch rough spread, because that's what we seem to be getting out of that sample. All right, I've gone to the extreme to see what happens there. I've got the longest plug and the longest spring, and I can still kind of slam it, but it is stiff. And I tell you, fitting that thing in there was fun. So remember, seems to work all right. We're looking for 2 inches or better. 2 inches is what we had before. We've also increased the non-reciprocating mass, which should help with recoil as well, because this is a metal guide rod with springs and all that kind of stuff versus the polymer guide rod that came with the Echelon. So, see how we do. Two inches again, 143, split of 0.15. Those are right on top of each other. 0.14 split, 134 time. Ah! Finger freeze. That's a fail. It happens. Leaving it in the video. It's real life. Happened again. What is going on? Now I gotta throw the second shot of those. My mag isn't even. Here we go. That drifted some. So, are we tighter? We had something we're tighter. Is that sugar air? Is that... I'm not sure how to judge here. I guess another thing we could do is take a look at a bill drill, because that is really, really recoil control. .203, and pause for a moment so you guys can absorb what that target looks like. Also just as tight. I did feel more recoil in my hand, and that was a 196. So I'm not seeing a huge difference. We did get slide lock with the DPM, so that's good. Let me try a different spring on the DPM. I'm frustrated with myself. I just shot a great one, didn't turn the target camera on. So I discovered there are 4 springs in this Echelon kit, 2 long, 2 short. There are 2 thin, 2 thick, a long and a short of each one. I had the longest spring in the first time, but it was the thin one. The longest thick spring with the longest plug is going to give us the most spring force. And I just shot it, had great results. Hopefully I can repeat it for you on camera, otherwise it doesn't count, right? It is firmer to rack, and I have to really push to slam, and I hope the sound is coming through the mic right, but that slam is not the same tingy slam that it had been before. So, with the strongest spring on, take 2, but first time for you guys. Does it strip? Oh yeah. And is it gonna lock open? How are we gonna do? Target camera on this time. Let's see, here we go. And it's not nearly as tight as the one that I filmed before. Ah! Of course, but I am not feeling the shock in my hand that you get when you have an aluminum frame. It's not transferring that energy, so it's much, much smoother. 229, just out of frustration and personal pride, I'm gonna do it again. Sorry guys for dragging you on this, but man, it's frustrating. 3. And this is with normal 124. We still need to experiment with softer ammo. Let's try this again. There we go. That's more like what it was the first time. And again, slide lock. Again, smooth and soft shooting. We have indeed reduced recoil. 223. The last split was a 0.18. So we know that this works. What happens if we go with softer ammo? That was normal 124, which is not necessarily hot ammo, but still has some decent energy. If it's going to be a range gun, you'll want to tune around and make sure it can work fine with your range ammo. If it's going to be a defensive gun, you'll want to test for that, but also maybe not go so extreme in case the gun is not in perfect conditions. However, a lot of that defensive ammo is spicier, so maybe you can tune it to make your carry ammo feel like range ammo, theoretically. I'm going to do one more bill. This is Fiocchi 115 grain, which in my test is one of the softest 9mm loads out there. We're going to see, well, is it going to cycle through all this stuff, and are we still going to get slide lock? Not going to clean the target, but I will turn it on for you guys. That is silly soft. That's a lot of fun. And we did get slide lock, no issue cycling, 210. Went a little slower. My last split was 0.18, but yes, that made a difference. So in this video, we've demonstrated tuning. Sorry, I couldn't show you the assembly, disassembly. Those are silly YouTube rules. But between video 1 and video 2, you guys should get an idea of it. And I just made myself a gamer gun out of the Echelon. Now I think I'm gonna go play with some of the other setups. Let me know if you guys want to see those videos or not. Thanks for watching. Bonus side note, you will want to make sure that you're tuning for what you can run. I've got a pretty firm grip, and this is, with the grip module and everything, a really great gun. I've got 4 rounds of Fiocchi, so soft ammo in here, and I'm going to limp wrist, see if we have a problem. It works. That's about as limp as I can get. You guys saw plenty of movement there. My arm was absorbing a lot of the energy the gun needed to run, and it still ran. So I am comfortable with this setup, and this is staying in my Echelon. Thanks for watching.
To our big man supporter, GBGuns, and I do 2-level Andrew, P. Joseph, P. Randy, Peter A. Tom, Moises, S. Fast Eddie, all 2-in-1, 5 Brian, P. Scott King. Thanks for the tip level, David P. Kratos, the God Slayer, Andrew B. Lee H. Christopher J. J. S. Bar, and H. Bright Bond, Jeff O. Michael W. David G. Holt, Keith Tuga, Fred L. Robert B. Ohio Coupler, Steve A. Briscoe County, Joe Rich R. Red Sky, Waha, NC, Beer 76, Uncle Muzzy, David F. Keeping things on his level, Gary B. Lake Best, Danielle D. NC, Jake J. Adam J. Brad M. George H. O'Benny Left, Edward B. Adrian H. Cody W. Mark S. Such, Hunter Lewis R. Edith B. Gary C. J. Logan G. Brian K. Harvey MD 2022A. Gil B. Ronzi. Court Mike. NC Techno Convent 50. CJ Ronald LW. Russ P. Marvin T. Allen B. Tabitha Nee. GPC 1986.